Hello all. Today we will discuss the Age of Sensibility. It is the period in English literature that spanned from the middle of the 18th century until 1798. This age is called the Age of Sensibility because reason, sensible views, and original genius controlled the literature of this time. This is the last stage of neoclassicism. The period is also called the Age of Johnson. Dr. Samuel Johnson dominated this period. This age started after Pope's death and ended with the publication of the first edition of Lyrical Ballads in 1798. George III became King of Great Britain and Ireland following his grandfather George II's death. He became heir to the throne when his father died in 1751 and he succeeded his grandfather George II in 1760. He ruled between 1760 and 1820. George III was different from his predecessors. He was the third Hanoverian king and the first one to be born in England and to use English as his first language. George III ruled for almost 2 centuries. During his long reign, he had to face events like American War of Independence, French Revolution, etc. George III was the last British monarch to rule the American colonies. The American War of Independence ran from 1775 to 1783 and resulted in Britain's loss of many of its colonies in North America. It began when American colonies resisted Britain's attempt to impose new taxes and trade controls on the colonies. Americans insisted on the principle no taxation without representation. They refused to accept taxes imposed by the British Parliament in which America had no representation. In December 1773, the colonists dumped a cargo of British tea into Boston Harbor in protest at the taxation. This is known as the Boston Tea Party. In response, the government introduced a series of measures known as Intolerable Acts, which closed the port of Boston and put Massachusetts under military rule. The War of Independence began in 1775. George Washington became the leader of the army. The English forces under Lord Cornwallis surrendered in 1781 and by the Treaty of Versailles, Britain acknowledged the independence of the United States of America. The French Revolution has been described as a revolt against absolute monarchy and the privileged classes. It started in 1789 and continued till 1797. Which changed the face of the whole of Western Europe. During the reign of Louis XIV of France, there were several inequalities among the people. The existing social injustices prompted Great Revolution. The slogan of the revolution was Liberty, Equality and Fraternity. The king, along with the queen, was overthrown by the common people. The reign of terror lasted for about 2 years with thousands of people guillotined and thousands more fleeing the country. Politically, it didn't have an active influence in England, but it influenced literature. By the end of his reign, George III was unable to rule because of his illness, so his son, the future George IV, became Prince Regent. An economic revolution began in England in the second half of the 18th century and brought fundamental changes in the industrial world. Handwork was replaced by machine work. It was a process of gradual evolution. There was a number of scientific inventions. James Watt invented steam engine. Invention of devices like the spinning jenny, the mule, etc. changed the method of working. England became the workshop of the world. The coming of machines led to the rise of the factory system, employing a large number of workers managed by factory owners. It resulted in the decay of the cottage industries. People moved from countryside to cities. The Industrial Revolution marked the beginning of a series of changes in ways of working, traveling and living. In literature, there were signs of reaction against neoclassicism. Revolutionary ideas gave birth to democratic and humanitarian feelings. It influenced literature greatly. The second half of the 18th century was a period of transition. The classicism of the age of Pope gradually giving place to Romanticism. Writers generally adhered to the classical rules, but their inclination was towards Romanticism. The literary works of the period showed the tendencies of both. Dr. Samuel Johnson was the only great exponent of classicism and he was the literary dictator of the 18th century. Dr. Johnson published his first poem, London, in 1738. It was his first major published work. Another poem, The Vanity of Human Wishes, published in 1749. His blank verse tragedy, Irene, was not a success. The following year, he started the periodical The Rambler, which appeared twice a week on Tuesdays and Fridays till March 1752. This was followed by The Idler. But because of their pedantic style and Latinate vocabulary, they lacked the easy informality of the Spectator purpose. Johnson achieved a preeminent position after the publication of his Dictionary of the English Language in 1755. It was the first such work prepared according to modern standards of lexicography. Until the completion of the Oxford English Dictionary 150 years later, Johnson's dictionary was viewed as the preeminent British dictionary. Though weak in etymology and philology, this work leads to the foundation of English lexicography. In 1764, he formed the famous literary club which included eminent persons like Burke, Goldsmith, Gibbon and others. In 1765, he made an edition of Shakespeare, Preface to Shakespeare. His largest and perhaps the greatest work was The Lives of the Most Eminent English Poets, with critical observations on their works. It contains his critical opinions about poets Milton, Dryden, Pope, Gray, and others. Johnson severely attacks Milton's Lycidas, Gray's Bard, and catalogues the defects in Paradise Lost. He was fearlessly frank and independent in his judgment. He died in 1784. But he continues to live in the pages of his biography by James Boswell, Life of Samuel Johnson. It gives us a full-length picture of the many-sided personality of Dr. Johnson. The period was greatly affected by the French Revolution, American War of Independence, and the Industrial Revolution. They provided literature with new themes which began to develop side by side with the old ones. Satire and realism were respectively replaced by sentimentalism and imagination, paving the way to the flourishing of Romanticism. A group of poets emphasized subjectivity, mystery, and melancholy in their poems, along with the subjects of death, mortality, and gloom, which were often set in graveyards. They were called graveyard poets. The most important poet of the group was Thomas Gray, and his most famous poem was Elegy Written in a Country Churchyard. The poets who showed romantic leanings during the age of Johnson are described as the precursors of the Romantic Revival. They aimed at achieving simplicity of expression and wanted to express emotion again. Poets like Bishop Percy, James Thomson, Thomas Gray, William Collins, Goldsmith, James Macpherson, William Blake, Robert Burns, William Cooper, and George Crabbe are known as the precursors of Romantic poetry or transitional poets. In 1765, Bishop Thomas Percy published in 3 volumes his famous Relics of Ancient English Poetry. It is a collection of ballads and popular songs collected by Bishop Percy. It attained wide popularity and stimulated interest in the medieval ballad literature. James Thomson's The Seasons is a blank verse poem and consists of a long series of descriptive passages dealing with natural scenes. His Castle of Indolence is written in Spenserian stanza. Oliver Goldsmith showed romantic traits in his poems The Deserted Village and The Traveller. William Collins' work Oriental Eclogues is romantic in feeling but is written in mechanical couplets. His ode on the popular superstitions of the Highlands introduced a new world of witches, fairies, and medieval kings. Thomas Chatterton's Rowley poems also achieved great popularity. These poems were supposedly written by a 15th century monk of Bristol, Thomas Rowley, a fictitious character created by Chatterton. James Macpherson published in 1760 a series of works purporting to be translated from collected fragments of the work of Ossian, a 3rd century Scottish poet. The poems are highly romantic and they transport the reader to a new world of heroism and supernaturalism. William Cooper's The Task is the longest and finest poem. It is filled with the poet's philosophy and his ideas of liberty. He was the revolutionist who preached the gospel back to nature. Robert Burns' famous poem, The Quarter Saturday Night, is written in the Spenserian stanza. His poetry is marked by a strong democratic quality and revolutionary spirit of his age. George Crabbe's poetical works are written in the heroic couplet, but they deal with the life of simple country folk and show his sincerity, sympathy, and acute observation of human life. One of the most important precursors of Romantic Revival is Thomas Gray. He started his career as a classical poet. His early odes contain little intimation of his later works. Gray's famous Elegy marks the transition from the early period of classicism to the later period of Romanticism. In this, he expresses his sad thoughts as he looks at the graves of the poor villagers in the churchyard of Stoke Poges. The 2 odes, The Progress of Poesy and The Bard, are the most imaginative poetry Gray ever produced. William Blake was one of the greatest of the pre-Romantic poets. His first publication, Poetical Sketches, is a series of poems. His best-known works are Songs of Innocence and Songs of Innocence and Experience. Blake introduced a note of mysticism, and this is his contribution to Romanticism. The greatest historian of the century was Edward Gibbon. The History of the Decline and Fall of the Roman Empire is his 6-volume work. Edmund Burke was the greatest orator of the age. He supported the cause of the American colonies in his speeches on American taxation 1774 and on conciliation with America 1775. His Reflections on the Revolution in France is a political pamphlet published in 1790. Samuel Richardson, Henry Fielding, Tobey Smollett, and Lawrence Sterne are known as the chief novelists of the age. Richardson and Fielding started writing in the previous period and they continued in this period. Richardson's Clarissa or the History of a Young Lady in 8 volumes is a sentimental novel. Henry Fielding's masterpiece Tom Jones gives us the fullest and richest picture of English life about the middle of the 18th century. Tobey Smollett wrote novels The Adventures of Roderick Random, The Adventures of Peregrine Pickle, and The Expedition of Humphrey Clinker. Lawrence Stern's novel The Life and Opinions of Tristram Shandy appeared in 9 volumes. The Vicar of Wakefield is a novel by Oliver Goldsmith published in 2 volumes in 1766. Horace Walpole's short novel The Castle of Otranto is generally regarded as the first Gothic novel. A new form of drama emerged known as the sentimental comedy. It was a reaction against the comedy of manners which was popular during the Restoration period. In this comedy, laughter, fun and humor is completely driven out, and in place of comedy, sadness was introduced. It lacked the true spirit of comedy. Richard Steele was the first exponent of the sentimental comedy, and his best-known comedy is The Conscious Lover. Oliver Goldsmith and Richard Brinsley Sheridan, in the form of anti-sentimental comedy, attempted a revival of the Restoration comedy of manners without its coarseness and immorality, and satirized the sentimental tradition. In his novel The Vicar of Wakefield and in his poem The Deserted Village, Goldsmith showed clear marks of sentimental attitude. He criticized sentimental comedy in his essay on Theatre. Goldsmith's She Stoops to Conquer is one of the best examples of anti-sentimental comedy. Richard Brinsley Sheridan is best known for his comedies The Rivals, The School for Scandal, and The Critics. In these plays, Sheridan reversed the trend of sentimentalism. Neoclassicism reigned in England for more than a century, and in 1798, with the publication of lyrical ballads, marked the full emergence of Romanticism. We have completed the 3 subdivisions of the Neoclassical period. In the next history video, we will learn about Romantic Age. That's all for today. Thank you for watching.